Hey, what's going on, Los Angeles? Welcome back to the Rams Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. Back with you. Wasn't able to get a recap up after the Rams good solid win in Foxborough, getting them back to 500. It was kind of an up and down game, but did some good things. And hey, you went on the road in the NFL. That's what's all that's needed. And they get the win to get back to 500, and now get to face a red hot Philadelphia Eagles team in prime time at SoFi. Going to be a great game, so we'll talk about that. Plus some rumors out there surrounding a team out east and whether the Rams should pursue. We'll get into all that here on the Rams Skinny. First and foremost, joining me as always, a little under the weather, still powering through for the people. He's here for you guys. Skinny T, what's up, brother? How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. A couple of really good nights sleep and some good drugs, and you're right back at it. It's all good. But a couple of days with the family is always going to pull everything out of you. So I my family was in town for a couple of days, and then I got sick right after. So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
That'll do it. I'm sure you guys were busy showing them the town, going all over. I can't remember. Have we recorded since they were here or no?
No, I don't think so.
Obviously, but we haven't recorded.
My nephew really wanted to come on and say, go Rams, Eagles suck.
Oh, okay. Well, he's here in spirit. Love that.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Shout out to
gets, I love it. Every trip we go, every work trip we go on, Skinny gets his nephew Rams gear, or whatever we're at. Like when we're at the Super Bowl, you got some Super Bowl gear, but typically you always get Rams gear or something, right? Or do you get something different every time? You always get something, but I can't remember.
Yeah, just something from the Super Bowl. Remind him that his uncle does something kind of fun with his life, and that it's funny growing up in Nebraska. You're not surrounded by artists and actors and writers and things like that. And I never knew people write TV shows and people write for normal people write for ESPN and SI and stuff like that. So. I hope I inspire him in some small way that he's actually going to be an athlete. He just made a 10 under select travel team for hockey. So
heck yeah.
He's a heck of an athlete. So he's already got me beat there.
Oh, and a hockey player. Love that. We'll see a future LA Kings player. Hopefully that'd be great. Yeah. Midwest hockey's big in the Midwest. I know it's out here. It's hit or miss, but yeah, always good. You got him something at the combine too, I remember. So he always makes out good from Uncle Ryan. So yeah, well, good. Well, yeah, hope you're glad you're feeling a little better. Hopefully by this weekend or whatever, you'll be fully recovered. But show is always brought to you by our good friends at BetOnline. Head to betonline.ag today. We do the show pretty much just live essentially, and I never prep. What is the line for this game? Do you have it off the top of your head? I thought I saw 2.5.
2.5, yeah. Eagles road faves.
Eagles road favorites, 2.5 on BetOnline. We'll discuss if that's a good bet. If you want to take your Rams, if you want to do money line, play the spread. I always hate a 2.5 spread because it's so rare that a team wins by 1 or 2. It's usually a field goal or more. So if you really think the Rams are going to win, then just take the money line or keep it close. But anyway, betonline.ag. Best lines, everything you need there. Every sport is there. All your LA teams. Lakers, they did lose last night, but hey, 10-5 start. JJ Redick looking great. The Clippers are playing fantastic, actually, even without Kawhi Leonard. Kings are playing well. So Ducks, I don't think are playing very well. I haven't honestly seen their record, but they're still in the kind of rebuild down there in Anaheim. But anyway, all that can be done at betonline.ag. Tell them the guys over at the LAFB network sent you. betonline.ag, where the game starts. So before we get into this Eagles game, I don't know. I think this was pretty shocking. Daniel Jones for the Giants benched just a few days ago, which is not shocking. I mean, he's not played well. I still think, I don't know why they're going back to Tommy DeVito. I think Drew Lock, I'm a big Drew Lock stan. I think Drew Lock, how are you the backup and then get passed over to start? But anyway, he comes out, Daniel Jones, that is, with a statement, I think just yesterday, that was basically like a retirement statement. I mean, you could tell the way he was saying things, his time in New York was dumb, but everyone assumed okay, he's now relegated to scout team, finish the year, and then they'll look for a trade partner or whatever. He's got this fat contract, yada, yada. Well, today, Friday, released, straight up just cut, released on the open market, a free man with no contract, so any team can go, you're not taking on his bludgeoning of a contract that they signed him to, which was one of the big reasons at the trade deadline when there was rumors of the Rams going after Daniel Jones. You and me were both vehemently even if he is a potential succession plan, like the salary cap makes no sense. You're taking on a huge salary hit for him. Well, now there isn't that issue. You can pay him a small amount of money because no team's going to be offering him big bucks. So my long-winded way of asking this question, Skinny, and you just wrote something about this on LAFBnetwork.com that everyone can go check out. Should the Rams pursue one, Daniel Jones, obviously would be a potential succession plan, not guy to come in and start right now. Matthew Stafford's the man, but should they pursue him and bring him in that quarterback room?
I'm in favor of it. Right now, their backup situation is Jimmy Garoppolo and Stetson Bennett. And I know a lot of people have a lot of affection for Stetson Bennett. I'm not so sure about Jimmy G. I think his best days are behind.
Real quick, because I want you to talk more about Daniel Jones, but I think I'm learning that the engagement and affection for Stetson Bennett is actually a lot more just Georgia fans than
Probably.
Rams fans. I think Rams fans liked him and were rooting for him, but based on some Twitter interactions that I've had with Georgia fans, I think they were the ones really pushing that agenda and coming into our mentions. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so I think Ari Merov of 33rd Team said he's probably going to get signed for a league minimum contract. So if you move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, that's an upgrade right there from financial perspective. And then I think it's also an upgrade from just trying to protect, if Matthew Stafford does go down with an injury, you have a guy back there that has an arm and he can move around in the pocket and he's kind of got a little bit of a Josh Allen to him. So, Jimmy Garoppolo cannot throw the ball down the field, can't make it outside the numbers, can't make it down the field, and he's not moving around much. So this guy has some upside in that. And then you get him a chance to give him that nice soft LA landing spot. Perhaps that's what revitalized Baker Mayfield's career. We don't know for sure, but there's a correlation there, definitely. So I kind of like this move. Obviously he's put some good tape out there where he's had, good games, good stretches of games. Not that long ago, 2022, he put up 3,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions with a 67% completion rate. So he's got talent there. You look back at some of those teams, those Giants teams, and those Giants receivers. They didn't offer him the same kind of thing that they have with Puka Nacua and the play calling of Sean McVay.
Yeah, well, I think Sean. I mean, first of all, the Rams love reclamation projects. Like they love revitalizing careers. I mean, we can go down the list of guys that have either been signed or traded for, came here and kind of revitalized their career. We saw it. I mean, just last year with Carson Wentz coming in, backup, gets one start, and obviously he's a backup, but goes and makes another contract in the NFL to be backup to Mahomes. We saw it with Baker Mayfield, obviously, come and play 5 games, and he's now making $40+ million a year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so we've seen quarterbacks come in here in spurts and kind of revitalize their careers. I think it's a very QB-friendly system. We've seen it, obviously. I know the McVay and Shanahan system are compared. They're a little different, but a lot of similarities, and both those coaches have gotten a lot out of quarterbacks. And, I think the organization is great. Everything you said about it, the organization's a soft landing spot, all this. Maybe the biggest factor, though, Skinny T, and I don't even know if these reports or rumors are true, but there were rumors out there that Kay Adams and Daniel Jones were dating. Did you hear those rumors?
No, I did not.
I don't know if that was more of a joke, like a show joke that she just says, like, my boyfriend, but the rumors that they were actually dating. And Kay Adams hosts her show, her FanDuel TV show, is in the Los Angeles studios. I mean, what better way to come closer to your loved one than come out here to play for the Rams and be close to Kay Adams?
We all benefit from being closer to Kay Adams.
Yeah.
Our good buddy Will has a bit of a crush on her, and anytime we've kind of her stage was right near our table at Radio Row, and so our good buddy Will got an eyeful and tried to he shot his shot. He went up and tried to talk to her, and
unsurprisingly, Will shot his shot. Unsurprisingly, it's still funny to me that FanDuel, a gambling company, has one of their main headquarters and studios in LA where it's illegal to gamble still, which is a whole other conversation. I mean, we won't belabor this too much, but I do think especially for a vet minimum. Jimmy Garoppolo's done after this year. He's on a 1-year deal. I don't foresee them re-signing him unless he's been great in the locker room or whatnot. Stetson Bennett, unless they're seeing something in practice, I still don't think we've seen anything from him that makes him even a good backup, let alone the future plan at quarterback. Matthew Stafford obviously has 2 years left on his deal. So he is the guy until I think he decides to retire or the wheels fall off, which don't seem like they will anytime soon. So, I mean, why would you not bring in a former, was he 3rd overall or 6th overall pick? Whatever, top 10 pick, whatever it was. And obviously has not been a good quarterback, but had some good moments in New York. And you know, he was drafted high for a reason. And, you know, it doesn't mean he'll come in and all of a sudden have a Baker Mayfield-like resurgence and take over the Rams franchise. But for a vet minimum, why not?
Yeah, definitely.
Saves you a draft pick too on drafting a quarterback.
Yeah, well, and that's you know, they're taking themselves out of the running for drafting a quarterback because they've played so well, and it looks like they're trying to make a playoff push in these last few games. So they're not going to be in a great spot to draft a quarterback. He was the 6th overall pick a few years ago. So and it gives you a chance to see if you have a succession plan in Daniel Jones, because right now, as you've already said, they don't have one, and they don't have the draft pick that they can select to go out and get one of the best guys. And next year's draft is definitely not one that you're looking at for getting a quarterback. So unless you're really sold on Shadur Sanders and maybe his dad coaching your team, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Like, I mean, I think I just on that point, I saw one mock draft, which, you know, we're still so early, but it had the Rams actually taking Carson Beck in the 1st round at like pick 18 or something, which is where they'd be kind of right now. And I mean, to me, there's nothing Carson Beck's done that I think is like better than Daniel Jones. And this isn't even trying to prop up Daniel Jones. I'm just saying, like, I'm not taking a 1st round pick on a guy that A, hasn't played, and B, I'm not like, oh yeah, that guy has high potential. Like, you look at Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, all these guys from last year's draft, you can see the ceiling. Like, yeah, they haven't played yet, but you're like, that's the ceiling. Carson Beck, I'm not seeing that ceiling. Maybe a Cam Ward, but he's going to go top 5, so you're not getting him.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yes, I think the Rams should. Now, last thing, and then we'll move on. If the Rams wanted to do it, do you think they would need to bring him in like ASAP? Or do you think it's something where he's going to sit out there almost to the end of the season? Or do you think a team will probably sign him within the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think there's enough teams out there that are banged up at the position that they're going to want to take a chance at him. There's other teams that are probably in a bit more of a desperate situation that they'll offer more than the league minimum. You know, you're looking at Jameis Winston, who's getting a ton of love for his performances. I mean, you know, you live there, you die there. You know, I'll leave it at that. But that's a team I could see going after him. You know, in a desperate way. And nobody else is coming to mind, but you know, there are, you know, Dallas is another situation where bring him in there. You know, that would, you know, they don't have a quarterback right now. So
Dallas would honestly be glorious because they play the Giants on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And how fun would that be? I mean, that game's going to be miserable anyway. It's going to be right now it's Cooper Rush against Tommy DeVito. Like, it's going to be a terrible Thanksgiving game. But you get that storyline of Daniel Jones coming in off of 1 week of practice, playing his former team. He'll probably play lights out, throw for like 4 tubbies and 400 yards. But the good thing about, because the Raiders are another team I've seen kind of linked because they have no quarterback future either. I'm not saying Daniel Jones would be a good one, but they literally don't have a quarterback plan. They're going to be drafting one regardless if they assign Jones or not. But the nice thing about the Cowboys drafting him, because unless they truly feel like Dak's time is done and someone's willing to take their contract on, like, I think Dak is still stuck with them for the foreseeable future. So if they brought Jones in, it would probably be just for this year, like just for the rest of this year. And then the Rams could go after him in the offseason. So it'd be perfect. They don't have to like rush anything. You can go play for Dallas, have those storylines, and then the Rams could sign him this offseason potentially.
Excellent. Love it.
There you go. All right. Enough Daniel Jones, because it's probably not going to happen in reality. But hey, let us know if you like it. If you think it'd be fun to see, if it's a good plan, if it's crazy, if it's a waste of money. Again, it wouldn't be, we're saying if the Rams did it, it'd be a vet minimum. Yeah, let us know what you guys think out there. Comment below if you're on YouTube. You can hit us up on Twitter at RL Anderson LAFB, at Ryan Dybert LAFB, or at LAFB Network. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, it's Rams LAFB. Really easy to find. Rams LAFB. go hit that like and subscribe. It certainly means the world to us. It's a great gift this holiday season to give us a nice subscription. So, or LAFBnetwork.com is where you find everything. So give a little middle of the show plug for that. Rams, Eagles on a 6-game winning streak. We were joking, Skinny, before we jumped on here that it seems like every week there's a opine out to get Coach Sirianni fired, and yet they're 8-2 and have won 6 in a row. Let me ask you from the top, and I won't give you the full overarching like we do, but kind of let me just ask it this way. What scares you the most about this Eagles team? When you look at their defense led by Vic Fangio, when you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at Saquon Barkley, like what scares you the most about this Eagles team?
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
He is on a tear this season.
Yeah.
113 yards a game. He's only been held under 100 yards a couple of times, and one of those was the Dallas game recently where it was out of control from the beginning, so he didn't have to play the entire time. They weren't going to rush him much. He's jumping over people backwards. They put that move into the EA game already for next year.
That was unreal.
It's incredible. And to be honest with you, the Rams have not faced a running back like him, and hardly any running back even close to like him this season so far. So if I'm going to point out one thing, it's going to be that, the Rams have really improved their rush defense over the last few weeks, really shored that up. But they haven't, the Patriots and the Dolphins, their running game is near the bottom of the league. Yeah, no good. And now they're going to face one of the best. And then you add in the rest of the weapons, and this is going to be a good test for a defense that's getting a lot of hype right now. They've shown they can rush the passer. They've shown that they can get sacks on coverage sacks. So this will be a whole different story. This is going to be the best team they've faced since week 1. So the 2.5 point line, I think is very generous for the home team Rams. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a really bad matchup for the Rams. Everything you just said, I won't dial in on it too much, but you look at the running game, and I think the Rams running game has improved, but they also have kind of played some bad running teams. When you look at the Raiders, when you look at, as you mentioned, the Dolphins, who actually ran, I'm trying to remember the stat line, but they haven't been great this year. When you look at last week, the Patriots have not been great. And so it's improved, but they're also going against inferior rushing competition. This Eagles team, as you mentioned, is one of the tops in the league, if not the top in the league. When you just look at the offensive line, when you look at what Jalen Hurts brings to the running game, and obviously we know the tush push to convert certain short and goal situations. And then Saquon Barkley has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, the offseason addition probably of the year so far, when you look at their team and their identity and what he brings to it. And I mean, how funny is it? We were just talking about Daniel Jones, like how great it would be, Saquon Barkley goes to the division rival Eagles balling out. What if Daniel Jones does go to the Cowboys and like balls out? Like this just shows how terrible that franchise is run currently and coaching, whatever. But yeah, I just think it's a bad matchup. Devontae Smith currently is still questionable. I don't think he practiced again today, right? On Friday. Have you heard anything?
I haven't heard. I haven't seen. It doesn't come out till later on.
But. Yeah, I think I saw an Eagles beat reporter say that he did not see him at the starter practice, but we'll get the report later officially. But either way, he's a little banged up. So that's, I guess, a win for the Rams. But, Dallas Goedert is going to be, I always do this every time we talk Eagles. It's Goddard, not Godare. I want to go full French with it from the guy from South Dakota. But Dallas Goedert is a mismatch for this Rams linebacking core, or whether they decide to bring down Quentin Lake or one of the safeties to cover him. And they have other weapons, obviously AJ Brown, one of the best receivers in football. So offensively versus defensively, this is just really a mismatch for the Rams.
Yeah, 100%. And, this Rams team is playing nickel defense at a surprisingly low level. That's always been kind of the go-to, and it's become kind of the norm in the NFL. Defenses run nickel. That's 5 cornerbacks, 5 defensive backs on the field. And the league average is about 65%. The Rams are running at 35%. So and I think the next lowest team is somewhere in the 50s. They're playing a ton of base, and they're playing a ton of dime. Dime is lighter packages, so that kind of hurts your running, your run stopping ability. And then on the other side, you've got a ton of base. That means you've got much more heavy personnel. But then you got guys like, then you're covering AJ Brown with Christian Roseboom or,
How much you want?
Yeah, Michael Hoyt. They're still putting him into a bind. He's still one of the top coverage outside linebackers in the league.
Oh, poor
So
guy.
teams still recognize it. He's having a heck of a year in other respects.
Yeah.
But it like you're saying, it's a bad matchup, and the reason the Rams don't play a ton of nickel is they just don't have the personnel after John Johnson went down. Before that they had Quentin Lake up there playing the slot. And that was a much more beneficial thing. Now they're leaning on these undrafted rookies, admirably so. They're playing fantastically, and they're just not they're not Quentin Lake level yet. So they're having to lean on these other packages a bit. And this is the kind of team that you can't make mistakes around. And coming out of the Patriots game, I just felt inconsistency at both levels. At not only offensively, and I think it's also happening defensively. Just a lot of inconsistency, and third down still killing this team. So,
yeah,
the Eagles team is not one that you can make those kind of mistakes with and come out with a W like they have the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots had the opportunity to go down and score on the final drive and potentially win that game. So luckily that the Rams did held and sealed the victory, which is, what matters most. But certainly showing those inconsistencies and those exploitations that we've talked about, unfortunately. And yeah, they're going to go up against the best team they played since week 1 in that overtime loss to the Lions. So I'm not saying they can't get it done, but the matchup is not quite there. And let's shift it. When you look at Rams offense versus the Eagles defense, I think the Rams offense, definitely poses some threats. But I mean, this is a very good Vic Fangio run defense, which we know the history of Vic Fangio and Sean McVay. This is the defense that has given Sean McVay fits over his career. And why he pretty much went and hired a linebacking coach that was coaching under Vic Fangio in Brandon Staley as his defensive coordinator, because he wanted that defenses implemented and he wanted to be able to learn that defense in practice to get firsthand experience, because he could not, I'm not saying he couldn't beat it, but he was beaten down quite a bit by it. And now he goes up against it again. And the Eagles defense has gotten better and better as the season goes on. You look at the talent on it. Jalen Carter, one of the top draft picks a few years ago, was really starting to come into his own finally. Nolan Smith at the edge in that same draft class. N'Kobe Dean has been great at linebacker. You look at their corners and, Gardner Johnson and Darius Slay and Reed Blankenship at safety. They've got, and everyone's, I know, making the big storyline of the white-on-white crime, Cooper Kupp and Cooper DeJean going up against each other. But this is a really good defense. And I think this Rams offense can definitely move the football, but it might be, trying to look down the list, here's what I'll say. Completely different defensive styles. But when they went up against Minnesota, who at the time was one of the best defenses in football, Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford played a heck of a game. McVay called a heck of a game. They were able to neutralize the blitz packages that Minnesota wanted to throw at them. Now, those are the Fangio and the drawing a blank on the D coordinator's name right now. It'll come to me as I'm talking, but the Vikings D coordinator, very different systems.
Brian Flores,
thank you. Very different systems, but just going head-to-head against a top unit versus a top unit, Rams came out on top that game, obviously. So I'm hoping that happens in this one, but history tells us the Fangio defense gives McVay fits. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is kind of like an ideal secondary for Fangio defense, where they just have every blade of grass covered. We've got Quinion Mitchell, who's not going to win the defensive rookie of the year. That's going to go to our guy, Jared Verse, but he's next in line. He's playing lights out, and they're good in man. They're good in zone. Puka Nacua has really got to take this offense over. I mean, he's got to realize that he is the future, and that future starts this year. He's, we love the combination of the two with he and Kupp, but this is his team going forward, and he's going to have a monster game. And one of the things that has always been kind of a staple of the Fangio defense is they dare teams to run. Now we've dared Sean McVay to run
many times.
Other teams have dared him to run, and some weeks he goes for it, and some weeks not so much. But another unit I'm keeping an eye on to see was last week fraudulent or legitimate was the offensive line, who played lights out against a very bad pass rush. The pass rush for the Eagles hasn't been much better, but over this winning streak, they are the top defense by EPA per play. Period. So they're not getting home a lot, but that secondary, I mean, is just lights out. So running the ball is something that they'll have to prioritize. We say it every week, and it can't be more true. Then Nakobe Dean, I think, has been on the injury report as well. So, that second level could be a little bit softer where they could find some extra points and some extra yards. And one thing I forgot to bring up over the last couple of weeks is the ability for these defenses that they've been going up against to not miss tackles, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And both the Dolphins and the New England Patriots are towards the bottom in the league in that statistic of making what am I trying to say? They're making good tackles.
Yeah.
They're not letting yak happen. They're not letting guys get by them. And the Eagles are also one of those teams, really sound in that area.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I mean, I don't even add more. Run the football. You got to establish the run the football. If the Rams can do that, I think they can really, they can pose a threat. I think this could be a really good football game because, the Rams obviously need it, sitting at 500. Still, everything's in front of them. Even if they lose this game because of the way the division's going, I think they still have a shot. Now that the Cardinals surprisingly are starting to kind of pull away, so you got to have some urgency here. But it's not like this is not a must-win game yet. Which in weeks past there were must-win games. I think they can still hang on. However, winning this game obviously increases your chances much, much more, and especially being able to take down one of the top teams in your conference can say a lot about you, because we haven't seen that yet from this team, where they've beaten outside of the Minnesota game, which was fantastic. The best game they played all year, far and away, but we haven't consistently seen that for sure a full 4 quarters outside of that game, but we haven't even seen it week to week sometimes throughout the season. So this is an opportunity for them to stack another win after the New England win, and head in to the Thanksgiving break, if you will, with a winning record, 6-5 for the first time this season, which I think would be great. So unless you have more analysis to add, I think we can get into maybe some score predictions.
Yeah, I think so. I'll say that the Cardinals are playing the Seahawks, so it's either everybody's going to be 500 or right around 500, and then the 49ers are playing the Packers, so that'll be a tough game for them to win, depending on their health, of course. So, but
so according to the Seahawks, that'll be tough. But yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah, lesser of two evils. That's always a good choice.
Yeah, for this season, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let's do score predictions.
All right. Let's should be Sunday Night Football, NBC and Peacock, primetime game. Rams have played pretty well in primetime over the last few years. There will be a lot of Eagles fans. A lot of Eagles fans just live here in LA. They'll travel out. Why not get to the warm 72-degree weather out here in LA? So it should be a fun back and forth football game. Who you got, Skinny T? 2.5 is the line out there again on betonline.ag. Rams are a 2.5-point dog at home.
This is a tough one because we know what they can be. We know what this Rams team can be. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed against the Patriots. Obviously not against the Dolphins either. Man, I hate to predict a blowout because I did that for the Vikings game as well. I'm gonna predict a blowout again. I'm gonna say 30-20 Eagles win.
Okay, but 10 points isn't like a bad blowout. I don't think. I think you're all right there. I think if you did like 31-7, that would be that's a blowout.
Yeah, I don't think that. But the line is so close that 10 points compared to 2.5 points. That's a blowout.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I really think the Rams can win this game, but to me, for them to win, they have to play perfect in every facet of the game. We haven't even talked about the kicking game and Cardi and how he's all of a sudden missing kicks. Missed a 28-yarder last week or whatever it was. Under a PAT attempt. And so they have to play perfect, which I think they kind of did in that Vikings game, which is why it was their best game of the year. But everything went well on offense. Defensively, they clamped down after the first 2 drives and played really well down the stretch. Got some turnovers, got some sacks. I just don't know if they haven't shown me over the last 2 or 3 weeks that they are playing perfect football. Doesn't mean they can't. And if they play perfect, they will win this game. I think they have the coaching, they have the players, they have the star power to do it. But I think the Eagles are a better team right now where they can make some mistakes and still come out victorious. If the Rams make even 1 or 2 mistakes, like I think that's too many. And I still haven't seen enough in the red zone from this offense to really put me over the edge. So I'll do a closer loss, unfortunately. Sorry, Rams fans. Hopefully, last time me and you both predicted them to lose, they won. It was the Vikings game. Because usually we're either picking them to win or we're one or the other, I feel like. So the time we've both picked them to lose was the Viking games. They won. So hopefully this will be our credo for them to win. But I'll go 27-21. They, I guess, do not cover, so lose by 6 to the Eagles.
All right.
We'll see, but hopefully they'll pull it out. So, but hey, anything else to add? Should be a great game.
Yeah, a bunch of primetime stuff happening over at SoFi. They have back-to-back prime time with the Chargers playing Monday night. So busy day down there. I was listening to Greg Rosenthal, and he was trying to get out of the SoFi area because some concert was happening at Staples or at whatever that old stadium's called.
Kia Forum.
Yeah. I was thinking of Great Western Forum, and that's been gone for a long time. And then
it used to be called the Great American Forum was like the name of it.
Yeah. And then then there was the Clippers game and a SoFi game. So he's trying to get the heck out of there.
It's a lot. I mean, this is a fun football weekend in LA. We got tonight. I'm going to be going to the high school semifinals, Centennial Mater Dei. Get to see now USC commit Huson Longstreet plus some others. That's tonight. Tomorrow night, the glorious battle for the victory bell, USC UCLA, right here at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. So I'll be at that. Sunday night got the Rams. Monday night got the Chargers. Like all of our teams are all spread out on primetime. It's kind of nice this weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
So
we've had a few good weeks like that.
Yeah, with obviously the 2 college ones playing each other. Who you got in that game, by the way? I know we don't talk college on here a lot, but you taking SC or UCLA?
I got to lean into SC, I think, as much as I'm more of a UCLA guy for whatever reason. I don't know. Jackie Robinson has always been a figure in my head, and he played there, so there's that. But I mean, that's not great analysis, but I think SC is the more talented team right now. I know UCLA is kind of heading in the right direction, but they're kind of all over the place. No real identity, I don't feel like, on offense for them. So yeah, I'm gonna lean Lincoln Riley on that one.
Yeah, it should be a good game. It's hard. We obviously did for those Rams fans that are either UCLA or USC fans. We did our fun Victory Bell crossover show, which we do our Bruin Bible and Salute to Troy kind of combined. We did it live on Tuesday, but it's up on our USC or UCLA YouTube or on LAFB.com. So if you're interested, check that out. But should be a good game regardless. So, but Rams, Eagles. 5:20 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday night on NBC and Peacock. Everyone enjoy the game. If you're going to the game, have a blast. Should be a really fun atmosphere. These primetime games are always fun. And hopefully they can prove us wrong and get the win and get to 6-5 before the Thanksgiving break. So for Skinny Tea, I'm Ryan Dowd. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Enjoy the game. Have a blessed weekend. We'll talk to you all next week.